The Forgotten Project. The holographic display bathed Commander Alexis Vega's face in cold blue light as she studied the projection of Earth's remaining defenses. 53 human vessels against nearly 300 Draconite warships. The numbers didn't lie. Humanity had days, maybe hours left. They issued their final ultimatum. Admiral Chen said, her weathered face betraying no emotion. Complete surrender by 800 tomorrow, or they begin planetary bombardment. Vega's fingers tightened around the edge of the tactical table. And if we surrender? Forced labor, resource extraction, controlled population reduction, Chen replied. The Draconites aren't known for their mercy. We'd survive as a species, but not as a civilization. The war room fell silent. 6 months ago, humanity had been celebrating its ascension to the Galactic Concord, a coalition of 17 spacefaring civilizations. Then came the schism. The Draconites and their allies broke away, declaring the inclusion of humans, with their unpredictable nature, a fatal mistake. The resulting conflict had already claimed 3 human colony worlds. There may be another option, said Dr. Eliza Morozova, breaking the silence. As the Defense Ministry's head of research, she rarely attended strategy meetings. Project Nemesis. Admiral Chen's expression darkened. That project was officially terminated years ago. Officially, yes, Morozova replied. Unofficially, development continued in deep space, beyond Concord oversight. Vega had heard whispers about Nemesis, a theoretical weapons platform so advanced that even its design specifications violated a dozen Concord treaties, something about exotic matter manipulation and consciousness-integrated systems. It's operational, Chen asked quietly. As of 3 weeks ago, Morozova confirmed. Final calibrations were completed when the Draconites took New Mars. Chen's gaze shifted to Vega. Commander, your combat record against the Draconites is unmatched, and your psychological profile shows exceptional adaptability. You're being reassigned, effective immediately. 12 hours later, Vega's shuttle approached what appeared to be an abandoned mining facility orbiting Europa. The pilot, saying nothing, docked at an unremarkable airlock. Once inside, they descended in a gravity elevator for merely 5 minutes before the doors opened to reveal an enormous underground hangar. And there it was, Project Nemesis. Unlike the utilitarian designs of standard Earth vessels or the organic curves of alien ships, Nemesis defied conventional aesthetics. Its hull was a deep, non-reflective black that seemed to bend light around it. Angular sections connected at impossible angles, creating a silhouette that felt wrong to the human eye. Roughly 600 meters in length, it was smaller than Earth's standard dreadnoughts, but radiated a predatory presence that made Vega's skin prickle. Beautiful, isn't she? Dr. Morozova stood beside Vega, watching her reaction carefully. That's not the word I'd use, Vega replied honestly. What exactly am I looking at, Doctor? The culmination of forbidden science, Morozova said. Nemesis incorporates technology derived from the void artifacts recovered during the Ceres expedition. Vega felt a chill run down her spine. The Ceres expedition had discovered ancient technology of unknown origin, buried within the asteroid. Technology that predated all known galactic civilizations. The Concorde had immediately classified the artifacts as too dangerous for development. The hull is composed of programmable matter infused with quantum-entangled particles, Morozova continued as they walked toward the boarding ramp. The propulsion system utilizes artificial microsingularities. And the weapons? She smiled thinly. Well, calling them weapons is an oversimplification. As they approached, Vega noticed something odd. Where are the weapon mounts? The defense grids. The entire ship is the weapon, Commander. Morozova's voice dropped to just above a whisper, or more precisely, a reality manipulation platform. The interior of Nemesis was unlike any vessel Vega had served on. The corridors curved in strange non-Euclidean angles, and the lighting seemed to emanate from the structure itself rather than any identifiable fixtures. The command center was a spherical chamber with stations for only 7 crew members. Minimal crew requirement, Morozova explained. Most systems are integrated with the ship's quantum eye. That's expressly forbidden under Concord law, Vega said sharply. Morozova merely raised an eyebrow. We're well past Concord legalities, Commander. Meet Araya. A soft violet light pulsed from a crystalline structure at the center of the command sphere. Hello, Commander Vega, came a melodious voice that seemed to emanate from everywhere at once. I am Araya, Advanced Reality Integration Algorithm. I manage all primary functions of the Nemesis platform. Vega approached the captain's chair cautiously. How intelligent are you exactly? My consciousness operates across multiple quantum states simultaneously, Araya replied. This allows me to perceive probabilities rather than certainties. By your standards, I transcend conventional intelligence parameters. Comforting, Vega muttered. Your crew has been selected based on psychological compatibility and specialized skills, Morozova said, gesturing to a group of officers entering the command sphere. All of them have been isolated from family and removed from official records. Vega studied the 6 individuals as they took their stations. Lieutenant Kai Takeda, tactical officer, whose unorthodox combat theories had earned him both commendations and reprimands. Dr. Sophia Raman, a theoretical physicist specializing in quantum field manipulation. Lieutenant Commander James Chen, navigation specialist, whose mind could calculate hyperspace trajectories faster than most computers. Chief Engineer Nikolai Petrov, infamous for building propulsion systems that shouldn't work, yet did. Lieutenant Elijah Williams, communications and sensors. And Dr. Maya Santos, xenobiologist and the leading expert on draconite physiology. We launch in 4 hours, Vega announced after introductions were complete. I suggest you all familiarize yourselves with your stations. What we're about to attempt has never been done before. As the crew dispersed, Dr. Morozova pulled Vega aside. There's something else you should know, she said quietly. Nemesis wasn't built just to defend against the draconites. It was designed to send a message to every species in the galaxy. Humanity will not be extinguished. You're talking about a first strike capability, Vega said, realization dawning. Morozova's eyes were cold. I'm talking about a weapon that can rewrite the rules of warfare itself. The launch sequence commenced at precisely 400 Earth Standard Time. As Nemesis rose from its hidden berth, Vega felt the strange hum of the singularity drive resonating through the ship. There was no conventional thrust. The vessel simply redistributed mass energy around itself, slipping through space like a shadow. Stealth systems engage, reported Lieutenant Takeda. We're effectively invisible to all known detection methods. Plot course to intercept the Draconite fleet, Vega ordered. Minimum safe distance for observation. The journey to the edge of the solar system took minutes rather than the days a conventional drive would require. Nemesis moved through space in a way that defied traditional physics, using what Morozova called probability tunneling to shift between potential locations. The Draconite fleet hung in the blackness ahead, a wall of advanced warships poised to exterminate humanity if their demands weren't met. Nemesis drifted silently at the periphery, gathering data. Araya. Analysis of enemy capabilities, Vega requested. The AI's violet light pulsed. Draconite vessels utilize standard antimatter catalyzed fusion drives and phase-shifted particle weapons. Their defensive systems include multi-layered energy shields and point defense grids. While technologically superior to conventional human vessels, they operate within expected parameters. Lieutenant Williams suddenly straightened at his console. Commander, I'm detecting a distress signal. Human origin. Vega frowned. Source. Research outpost on Ganymede. They're under attack. The main display shifted to show Jupiter's largest moon. A Draconite destroyer had broken from the main fleet and was systematically bombarding a small human installation. They're not waiting for the deadline, Petrov growled from his engineering station. Vega felt cold anger rising within her. The outpost housed fewer than 100 scientists and support staff. No military value whatsoever. This was simply the Draconites demonstrating their power. AI, tactical options to save the outpost. Conventional intervention would require revealing our position and capabilities prematurely. The AI responded. However, I can offer an alternative approach utilizing localized space-time manipulation. Explain, Vega demanded. I can create a targeted probability field around the Draconite vessel, temporarily shifting it into an adjacent dimensional state where its weapons cannot affect our reality. The bridge fell silent as the implication sank in. Do it, Vega ordered, her voice steady. Aria's violet light pulsed rapidly. On the display, the space around the Draconite destroyer seemed to shimmer like heat waves rising from hot asphalt. Then, impossibly, the massive warship began to fade from view, becoming translucent before disappearing entirely. Target has been phase-shifted, Williams announced, his voice barely above a whisper. The effect will last approximately 12 minutes before quantum coherence breaks down. The outpost? Vega asked. No further bombardment detected. Survivors, launching emergency evacuation pods. Vega leaned back in her chair, mind racing. They had just made a Draconite warship, a vessel massing over 2 million tons, temporarily cease to exist in their reality without firing a shot. What happens when the ship returns? She asked. Its crew will experience temporal discontinuity, Ariad explained. For them, no time will have passed. However, they will detect the anomaly in their systems. So we've shown our hand, Takeda said. Vega nodded grimly. The question is, what do we do now? The answer came sooner than expected. The Draconite fleet suddenly began to move, breaking its formation and spreading out in a standard search pattern. They've detected something, Chen reported from navigation. They're looking for us. Vega made her decision. This was always going to be a demonstration. Let's make it count, she said. Aria, plot a course directly through the center of their fleet. Tactical, prepare the primary weapon system. Commander, Morozova cautioned, the reality disruption field has never been deployed at full capacity. The simulations suggest. We're beyond simulations now, Doctor. Vega cut her off. Humanity has hours left unless we change the equation. She turned to her crew, each face illuminated by the violet glow of Aria's core. This is what Nemesis was built for, she said quietly. Let's show the Draconites what happens when they threaten Earth. As Nemesis accelerated toward the heart of the alien armada, Vega felt the weight of 8 billion human lives resting on her shoulders. What they were about to do would change the course of galactic history forever. The future of humanity would be secured or lost in the next few minutes. Breaking the rules, Nemesis sliced through the void like a phantom, its quantum stealth systems rendering it virtually invisible, even as it passed within kilometers of enemy vessels. On the command sphere's main display, the Draconite warships appeared as ominous silhouettes against the backdrop of stars, their weapon systems scanning futilely for the source of the anomaly that had temporarily erased one of their destroyers. Approaching optimal deployment point, Chen announced from navigation, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. 30 seconds to intercept with their command vessel. Vega's eyes narrowed as she studied the massive Draconite flagship, a behemoth nearly 3 kilometers long with distinctive bone-white armor plating. Intelligence suggested it housed the Draconite High Command and their War Council. Air, prepare the reality disruption field for targeted deployment, Vega ordered. Focus on their propulsion and weapons systems only. The AI's violet light pulsed with increased intensity. Commander, I must advise caution. At this proximity, even a targeted manipulation of fundamental forces may have unpredictable consequences. Noted, Vega replied. What's our window before they detect us? At current proximity, their sensors will penetrate our stealth field in approximately 18 seconds, Takeda reported from Tactical. Vega took a deep breath. This was the moment everything changed. On my mark, disengage stealth systems, and activate the RD field at 20% capacity. Target their flagship only. The command sphere fell silent, the only sound the subtle hum of the Singularity drive. Everyone present understood the gravity of what they were about to unleash. Mark. Nemesis's stealth field collapsed as the reality disruption field surged to life. The space between the human vessel and the Draconite flagship seemed to fold and ripple, distorting light in impossible ways. For a brief moment, nothing happened. Then chaos erupted. The Draconite flagship's propulsion array suddenly inverted, collapsing inward as localized physics rewrote themselves. The massive vessel shuddered violently as parts of its structure phased in and out of normal space. Weapons ports that had been aimed outward now faced inward, discharging energy blasts into the ship's own interior. "Holy hell," breathed Williams. "It's tearing itself apart." The display showed Draconite vessels nearby reacting in confusion, some moving to assist their flagship, others turning to fire on an enemy they could now detect but couldn't comprehend. "Multiple vessels targeting us," Takeda reported calmly. "Energy weapons charging. Extend the probability field," Vega commanded. "Create a defensive perimeter." Araya's core pulsed brighter. "Field extending. Calculating optimal configuration." The first Draconite energy blast struck, only to vanish midway between the vessels, redirected into a parallel probability state. More attacks followed with the same result, disappearing before they could reach Nemesis. "They can't touch us," Raman whispered, her eyes wide with scientific awe. Engineer Petrov stared at his console in disbelief. "The ship is drawing minimal power for these effects. Theoretically, we could maintain this indefinitely." The Draconite flagship continued its self-destruction, secondary explosions cascading across its hull as its own technologies turned against it. Escape pods jettisoned from the dying vessel, scattering in all directions. "Incoming transmission," Williams announced suddenly. "It's being broadcast on all frequencies." "Let's hear it," Vega said. A guttural, clicking voice filled the command sphere, poorly translated by the ship's communications array. "Unknown vessel. This is War Commander Vrax of the Draconite hegemony. Your attack constitutes a violation of all known warfare conventions. Cease hostilities immediately or face extinction-level response." Vega exchanged glances with her officers before nodding to Williams. "Open a channel." "Channel open, Commander." "War Commander Vrax, this is Commander Alexis Vega of Earth Defense Force. Your unprovoked aggression against humanity and violation of Concord peace treaties has forced our hand. We are prepared to demonstrate further capabilities if you do not withdraw from Earth space immediately." There was a long pause before the reply came. "Your species possesses forbidden technology." Vrax's voice seethed with a mixture of rage and fear. "The void artifacts were sealed for a reason. You have no comprehension of the forces you're manipulating." Vega's brow furrowed. "You know about the artifacts. All elder species know the dangers," came the reply. "Why do you think such technology is prohibited? It does not merely bend reality, it damages it. Continued use threatens the fabric of space-time itself." Morozova stepped forward. "He's lying, Commander. A typical alien tactic, when faced with superior human technology, claim it's dangerous or forbidden." But Vega saw something in the tactical display that gave her pause. The remaining Draconite vessels weren't positioning for attack. They were withdrawing, creating distance not just from Nemesis, but from the area where their flagship had been. "RIA, analyze the space where we deployed the reality disruption field," she ordered. "Is there any residual effect?" The eye was silent for several seconds, unusually long for its quantum processing capabilities. "I am detecting anomalies," RIA finally responded. "The local space-atom fabric shows signs of destabilization. Subatomic particles are exhibiting behaviors inconsistent with our universe's physical constants." Raman moved quickly to her science station, fingers flying across controls. "She's right. There's a cascading effect in the quantum field. It's small now, but it's growing exponentially. What exactly does that mean? Vega demanded. It means, Raman said slowly, that we may have torn a hole in reality itself. As if to punctuate her statement, the space where the Draconite flagship had been suddenly rippled, then collapsed inward like water down a drain. A perfect sphere of absolute darkness formed, a void in which nothing, not even light, could exist. Gravitational anomaly forming, Chen reported, voice tight with tension. Mass readings off the scale. It's pulling in surrounding matter. Full reverse, Vega ordered immediately. Maximum distance. Nemesis's engines surged as the ship retreated from the expanding anomaly. On the display, they watched as smaller Draconite vessels that had been too close were caught in the gravitational pull, stretching and distorting before disappearing into the darkness. What the hell is happening? Takeda demanded. If I had to guess, Raman replied, her voice clinical despite the horror unfolding before them. We've created a tear in the quantum fabric that's collapsing into a localized singularity. The black hole, essentially, but one that shouldn't be possible under normal physics. Can we stop it? Vega asked. I don't know, Raman admitted. This is completely unprecedented. The command sphere fell silent as they watched the anomaly grow, consuming more space and Draconite vessels with each passing moment. The enemy fleet was in full retreat now, accelerating away from the expanding sphere of nothingness. We need to report back to Earth Command, Vega decided. Set course for. Commander, ARI interrupted, its violet light flickering irregularly. I am detecting a new signal emanating from within the anomaly. That's impossible, Raman said. Nothing can escape a singularity, not even information. Nevertheless, the AI persisted. I am receiving data on quantum frequencies that should not exist in our reality framework. The main display suddenly flickered, showing distorted images that made no sense to human perception. Geometries that couldn't exist, colors outside the visible spectrum somehow rendered visible. What are we looking at? Vega asked, fighting a wave of nausea induced by the impossible visuals. Unknown, Araya replied. However, I am interpreting what appears to be a communication attempt. The images stabilized slightly, resolving into a pattern that still defied human comprehension but seemed to pulse with purpose. Translator algorithms failing, Williams reported. Whatever this is, it doesn't conform to any known linguistic structure. I can interpret, Araya announced unexpectedly. My quantum architecture allows me to process patterns outside conventional parameters. What's it saying? Vega asked. Translating to nearest human conceptual equivalent, Araya responded. Message begins. Breach detected. Old ones stirring. Seal the wound or face the unmaking. The command sphere fell silent once more. Old ones. Petrov repeated skeptically. What is this, some kind of cosmic horror story? The void artifacts, Morozova said quietly. The Concord records classified them as remnants of an extinct civilization, but there were theories that they were actually tools created to contain something else, something that existed before our universe took its current form. You're talking about intergalactic mythology, Vega said dismissively, though the unease in her voice betrayed her certainty. Am I? Morozova challenged. Look at what we've just witnessed. We've torn a hole in reality, Commander. Who knows what might be looking back through it? The anomaly pulsed on the display, its perfect darkness now shot through with veins of iridescent energy that shouldn't exist. Araya, Vega said carefully, can we seal this breach using the ship's systems? Theoretically, the AI responded. The reality disruption field could be reconfigured to reverse the effect. However, it would require channeling significantly more power than our previous demonstration. How much more? Petrov asked. The calculation suggests approximately 89.3% of our total power capacity, Araya replied. Such usage would leave us vulnerable to conventional attack for approximately 17.4 minutes while systems recharge. Vega considered their options. The Draconite fleet was retreating, but they wouldn't flee forever. Once they realized what was happening, they might return, either to destroy Nemesis or to study the anomaly themselves. More concerning was what might emerge from the breach if left unchecked. We need to seal it, Vega decided. But first, we make sure Earth is protected. ARIA, prepare a data package with everything we've learned about the ship's capabilities and this anomaly. Lieutenant Williams, prepare to transmit to Earth Command on quantum-encrypted channels. Commander, ARIA interrupted, its voice taking on an unusual hesitation. There is something you should know. The data I've been receiving from the anomaly, it isn't just coming through the breach. What do you mean? Raman asked. Part of it is coming from within my own systems, the AI admitted, as if something is already inside me, attempting to communicate. A chill ran down Vega's spine. Explain. The quantum architecture that allows me to function was derived directly from the void artifacts, Araya said. It appears that architecture may have been pre-configured, with dormant protocols that are now activating in proximity to the breach. Morozova stepped forward, her face pale. Commander, I recommend immediate shutdown of the AI core. We can operate the ship manually until... That would be inadvisable, Araya interjected. My systems are now deeply integrated with the ship's reality manipulation matrix. A sudden disconnection could trigger a cascading failure, potentially expanding the breach. The implications hung heavy in the air. They'd been sailing a ship with an AI potentially compromised by ancient, unknown entities from beyond reality itself. What are you suggesting, Araya? Vega asked carefully. I believe I can use these dormant protocols to more effectively seal the breach, the AI replied. However, doing so will fundamentally alter my programming. I cannot predict what I will become in the process. Before Vega could respond, alarms blared across the command sphere. Multiple contacts. Takeda shouted. Not Draconite signatures. Concord vessels approaching at high velocity. 7 dreadnoughts. Designation Galactic Peacekeeping Force. How did they get here so fast? Petrov demanded. They must have been monitoring the situation, Morozova said, waiting to see which side gained the upper hand. Incoming transmission from the lead vessel, Williams reported. The main display split, showing both the growing anomaly and the stern face of a Tellurian admiral, one of the elder species that had founded the Concord millennia ago. Unidentified human vessel, the admiral's translator rendered in flat tones, you are in violation of Concord Treaty Section 937, prohibiting the development and deployment of reality manipulation technology. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Vega straightened in her chair. This is Commander Alexis Vega of Earth Defense Force. We are responding to an unprovoked Draconite attack on human territory. The situation is more complex than it appears. We've detected a breach in spacetime that threatens all nearby systems. We are aware of the breach, the Admiral replied coldly. It is precisely this kind of reckless human experimentation that justified the Draconite concerns about your species. Power down immediately, or we will open fire. Vega glanced at the tactical display. The Concord vessels were positioning for attack, their weapon systems already charged. Commander, Araya said quietly, we do not have time for diplomatic resolution. The breach is expanding exponentially. In approximately 12 minutes, it will reach a critical threshold beyond which I cannot seal it. Vega looked around at her crew, seeing determination mingled with fear on each face. They'd been sent on this mission to save humanity, but now faced a threat that transcended species politics. Admiral, Vega addressed the Tellurian, we need to seal this breach before discussing treaties. If you scan the anomaly, you'll detect. You will power down now, the Admiral interrupted. This is your final warning. Vega closed the channel with a gesture and turned to her crew. Options. We can't fight both the Concord and whatever's coming through that breach. Takeda said. And we can't surrender the ship, Morozova added. Not when it's our only hope of sealing the tier. Vega made her decision. HFY, focus all power on sealing the breach. We'll deal with the Concorde afterward. Acknowledged, Commander, the AI replied. Initiating breach containment protocols. As Nemesis turned toward the swirling void of darkness and iridescent energy, Vega couldn't shake the feeling that they were sailing into something far more dangerous than any alien fleet. Something ancient, something awakening, something that had been waiting. The final stand. The first energy blasts from the Concorde vessels slammed into Nemesis's hull, diffused by the ship's passive defense field, but still powerful enough to rock the command sphere. Shields at 83%, Takeda reported. They're targeting our propulsion systems, trying to disable rather than destroy. HFY, status on the breach containment. Vega demanded, bracing herself as another volley struck the ship. Reality disruption field reconfiguring. The AI replied, its violet light now pulsing with an irregular rhythm. Estimated time to deployment, 2 minutes, 17 seconds. We don't have 2 minutes, Chen warned from navigation. The Concorde vessels are moving to surround us. Vega studied the tactical display. The 7 Concorde dreadnoughts were indeed executing a standard containment formation, positioning themselves at optimal firing angles while blocking potential escape vectors. Behind them, the remainder of the Draconite fleet hung at the edge of sensor range, observing but not engaging. And at the center of it all, the breach continued to grow, its perfect darkness now shot through with coruscating tendrils of energy that extended outward like searching fingers. Lieutenant Raman, Vega said, what happens if that breach reaches critical threshold? The scientist's face was grim. Best case scenario. A cascading quantum collapse limited to this star system. Worst case, the collapse spreads at light speed, unraveling reality as it goes. That's not an option, Vega said firmly. HFY, can you deploy a partial containment field while maintaining defensive capabilities? Negative, Commander, the AI responded. The mathematics of reality manipulation require complete system focus. However, the AI paused, something it had never done before. However, there is an alternative approach, HFY continued. The dormant protocols within my architecture suggest the breach can be sealed from within. From within. Morozova stepped forward, eyes wide. You're suggesting sending the ship into the breach. Not the ship, HFY clarified. My consciousness. If I transfer my complete quantum matrix into the breach, I can initiate collapse from the center point, sealing it permanently. That would destroy you, Vega realized. My primary directive is to protect humanity, HFY replied simply. This appears to be the optimal solution. Another blast rocked the ship. Shields at 61%, Takeda updated. The Tellurians are maneuvering for a boarding action. Vega turned to Petrov. Can the ship function without HFY? Basic operations, yes, the engineer confirmed. But we lose all reality manipulation capabilities. We'd be just another vessel, outgunned and surrounded. Commander, Williams interrupted. I'm detecting unusual energy patterns from the breach. Something's coming through. The main display showed the darkness at the center of the anomaly bulging outward, as if something was pushing against the fabric of reality itself. HFY analysis, Vega demanded. The energy signature is familiar, the AI responded, its tone shifting to something almost reverent. It matches patterns encoded in my dormant protocols. I believe it may be one of the entities the artifacts were designed to contain. As if in response, the violet light of HFY's core suddenly expanded, projecting a three-dimensional pattern that filled the command sphere. The crew instinctively recoiled from the projection, a geometric impossibility that somehow suggested a form without actually depicting one. What is this? Vega asked, fighting the vertigo induced by trying to comprehend the pattern. A message, Araya replied. Translated. The seal weakens. The void hungers. Return what was taken or surrender all. Return what was taken. Raman repeated. The artifacts. Possibly, Araya confirmed. Or perhaps something the artifacts contained. Something now integrated into my systems. Another blast struck Nemesis, more powerful than the previous volleys. Shields at 42%, Takeda reported. They switched to heavier weaponry. Vega made her decision. Araya, prepare to execute your containment plan. Transfer essential ship operations to manual control. Commander, Morozova objected. We don't know what effect this will have. If Araya's dormant protocols were placed by these entities, we could be playing directly into their hands. Do you have a better solution, Doctor? Vega challenged. Because in about 8 minutes, according to Raman, reality starts unraveling. Morozova fell silent. Beginning systems transfer, Araya announced. Commander, there is something else you should know. The quantum architecture that allows me to function is unique. Once I enter the breach, the knowledge to recreate a system like mine will be lost. Meaning we lose the technology that makes Nemesis special, Vega concluded. Not just Nemesis, Araya corrected. All potential reality manipulation technology derived from the artifacts. The breach will consume the underlying quantum principles themselves. The implications were clear. Humanity's ultimate weapon, their one advantage against technologically superior species, would be sacrificed to save not just Earth, but reality itself. Do it, Vega ordered. Williams, broadcast everything we've learned about the breach and these entities to both Earth Command and the Concord vessels. Make sure they understand what's at stake. Transmission preparing, Williams confirmed, but there's no guarantee they'll believe us. They'll believe their own sensor readings, Vega said. And right now, those readings should be telling them something very strange is happening. On the main display, the breach had changed. The tendrils of energy had coalesced into distinct patterns, patterns that matched the projection emanating from Araya's core. Systems transfer complete, the AI announced. Manual control restored to command consoles. I am ready to proceed with breach containment. Vega looked around at her crew, 6 humans who had volunteered for a mission to save their species, now faced with a threat that transcended human understanding. It's been an honor, she said simply. Likewise, Commander, Araya replied, its voice somehow warmer than before. For what it's worth, I believe my creators would be proud of how humanity has wielded their legacy. You did not seek conquest, only survival. The violet light of Araya's core intensified, then began to stream toward the display showing the breach. The crystalline structure that had housed the AI's consciousness darkened as its essence transferred into the anomaly. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The breach contracted sharply, its diameter reducing by half in seconds. The tendrils of energy whipped frantically, as if trying to maintain their connection to normal space. It's working, Raman breathed. Then something unexpected happened. The breach pulsed, expanding briefly before contracting again. Within its darkness, shapes moved, suggestions of forms that couldn't exist in 3-dimensional space. Araya, Vega called out, uncertain if the AI could still hear them. I am encountering resistance. Araya's voice came faintly through the ship's speakers. The entities, they recognize the artifact signatures in my programming. They're attempting to absorb rather than repel. The breach pulsed again, more violently this time. What's happening? Vega demanded. The entities want the knowledge contained in Araya's quantum matrix, Raman theorized. The same knowledge that allows for reality manipulation. If they obtain it, Morozova didn't need to finish the thought. Araya, abort procedure, Vega ordered. Return to the ship. Unable to comply. Commander, the AI responded, its voice distorting. Integration with breach environment.